Do you have the nun urine scene in this?
I watched that part and it wasn't there.
Okay, yeah, HBO Max.
I think HBO Max doesn't actually have the director's cut. I think
one
that they
of
have the
two
same movie
things
twice.
happened. Either, HBO Max has their metadata wrong and they're vending you the wrong movie. Or
Accurate.
I hallucinated a scene about nun urine. Hi, welcome to Never Show the Monster. I'm Kelly Attaway.
I'm Chelsea Hollander.
And today we are talking about the movie Mimic. This movie is going to kick off our new theme of 1997. This is not a vibe theme, which is what we've usually done. This is more like the Jeffrey Dean Morgan theme in that it's very literal. We are going to be covering movies that came out in 1997. So we're kicking it off today with Mimic. We will do I Know What You Did Last Summer, Spawn, Scream 2, and Event Horizon. So if you want to go ahead and check those out, especially Scream 2, wanted to give you guys a heads up so you could watch the first one too if you wanted to.
Watched it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember it. I haven't watched it since the 90s.
First?
Oh, I'm for sure am. Yeah.
I will just jump into Scream 2 and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll just jump into Scream 2. But not today. Today we are talking about Mimic, which stars Mira Sorvino as an entomologist who gets called in to kill a bunch of bugs that are spreading a pandemic. So never say that we are not topical. She kills those bugs, and the mechanism by which she did so turns out to be kind of nefarious. Or is it nefarious? Is nature evil? I don't know. We'll get into it. So that's what we're talking about today. But before we get into that, we missed a week. Did you notice? We missed a week. We both got by stress.
Yep. And as Kelly has said before, that we fell into the psychoplasmatics from the brood. So we had physical ailments from them stressies. I got diagnosed with shingles. Anybody who knows me personally knows I'm not old enough to really get shingles. So
and yet here we are.
I have them. So we were focusing on getting better. I say that like you were helping me focus, but you also had skin ailments because Kelly and I tend to run the same when it comes to skin ailments, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how it happens. I didn't get I don't think I got shingles. I as a rule don't go to the doctor. Do as I say, not as I do. Please go to the doctor if you are able. No, I haven't gone. I developed some sort of weird rash on my sternum. So if anybody is a doctor out there, DM me at Kelly Attaway. I'm not even going to put it in the show Twitter, at Kelly Attaway on Twitter. Yeah, so I don't know. We both just needed a second to recoup. Mm-hmm. We got by a Cronenberg disease, and we are still getting better, I think. But we're back. We're back.
Yes, and excited. I'm excited to talk about Mimic. 97 Del Toro, bad CGI. It's got everything.
I love Guillermo del Toro, so I was so excited to watch this movie. I don't think it's very good.
I was hoping you would say I love bad CGI.
You know, what stood out to me in this movie was not the CGI, but the practical effects.
Ooh, which ones?
They built the bugs. They built the Judases.
The giant ones?
Uh-huh.
I mean, but when they're in action, they're not real.
No, like the flying scene was CGI for sure.
But they did very well on the practical, whenever their bodies are hanging out.
I love a practical effect.
I agree.
You know that about me.
Yeah. I also didn't have the same reaction. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it could be better.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I didn't, on the scary meter, I put it at -4.
What's that? What's that out of? Sorry.
Was negative. Oh, okay. It goes from 1 to 3. We'll say 3, and then it's a -4.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. 3
this is an interesting scale you've developed here.
None of the scales I live on are real, so it's fine. It wasn't. So this movie wasn't. I wouldn't say it was scary. I thought it was enjoyable, but I thought it was more of a fun action movie. I think that we had talked before about it being kind of like Aliens. Like they threw in a lot of jokes. It was I think it was more of a fun movie than it was scary.
Yes, I agreed that it's like it's not quite horror. It's not quite sci-fi. I don't want to say that it's like a lighthearted. Like it's not.
It's not like a comedy. It's definitely not a comedy. And it's not an action film. It is a film. It's not a drama.
Maybe it's a drama?
I think it'd be more. I don't know if it would. I would say it would fall under sci-fi, but I don't think it would fall under horror as I don't know. I guess if you're afraid of bugs. But like I know people consider Tremors horror, but I don't consider like Tremors horror. I guess you're going to be eaten from the ground.
I love Tremors.
Anything that kills you, I guess, is going to be horror.
I guess so. I don't know.
But I wouldn't consider No Country for Old Men horror. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of movies where people get killed now. Yeah. Anyway, now we're going into a weird area. I thought the movie was fine. I enjoyed watching it. I knew it was Del Toro, but I also didn't put a lot of that. Like I assumed it was so early on in his career, and he was probably restricted, which is what I will talk about. That I didn't have any expectations.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. I didn't really remember that it was Del Toro. I know we talked about it at the end of our last episode, but I forgot. And so when I started the movie, I was so excited, but very early on, I paused the movie to see how much longer it was. When I saw that I still had like an hour and 15 minutes left, I was like, no.
And I was going to say, it was a very long movie, but it wasn't very long. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. But there is a point in the movie where it feels like the movie's about to end, and then it just keeps going. And you're like, okay, that's fine. If that's like you get to the scene or you get to the setting where everything is going to commence. And then it just kind of keeps going.
And we're there for so long. Yeah. I know now because you've told me that Del Toro was really restricted in this. I didn't expect this to be like fully formed Del Toro. Like I knew it wasn't going to be Pan's Labyrinth, but I expected more. I expected more fantasy. Like this is very sci-fi. There's very sci-fi.
There's no, and something that Del Toro is really great is creativity in characters. But there's no character to be creative with in this. I mean, the bugs exist, but they don't have fully formed personalities, which is also kind of something that ends up being something that I think was a restriction on him. So in the research I did for this movie, it turns out that Del Toro has said, this is not my movie. And he has disowned this movie because of the fact that the studio stepped in. The studio being, I think Dimension was the studio that produced it, but Miramax was the one that released it. And so the Weinsteins came in and they were like, it's gotta be lighter. It's gotta be, you can't have all these like dark references. The story can't end like this. It can't be like this. And we want more action, and anything that makes the story a Hollywood hit at that time, just like a super action, not very, developed, not very like.
So they were looking for like a summer blockbuster from this.
Yeah. And that's not, I mean, Del Toro did do Hellboy, but it's not like that wasn't what his intent was. And that isn't the intent of the story either. Based on a short story by, what was the name of the guy who wrote it?
Wolfenstein. What was it? It was,
Wolfenstein?
I'm not that far off. It's something like that.
I was like, did you submit? Wollheim? Donald A. Wollheim. So
I was close.
Donald A. Wollheim wrote a short story, and Del Toro wanted to keep with the short story, but the short story has a much darker ending than the one that we're going to talk about. I don't know if it does, because it turns out the director's cut isn't the same as the regular cut, so we're going to wait to get to that. But
so that's something that I don't think we've covered in this recording yet. Chelsea streamed this on HBO Max,
yes,
which is just regular movie. Even if you select the director's cut version, it just gives you the regular movie. I rented it on Amazon and selected the director's cut, and I for sure saw scenes that Chelsea didn't see.
Yes. And then right before this, I tried to watch the director's cut to see the scenes that Kelly had talked about previously. Just started rewatching the same movie. No extra scenes in there.
They're not in your movie.
So when I get to the end, if it has the ending that I wanted it to be based on what Del Toro wanted it to be, I'm going to be so sad that you got the better ending.
There's no way because I got a bad ending.
I thought the ending was bad on this one as well. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so the Weinsteins, both of them came in and just like poo-pooed on all of it. And then Del Toro was like, you're ruining my vision. You're ruining this movie. I am very upset. And they tried to remove him from the film. And the good news is that Mira Sorvino and other members of the cast, which I found out today was other members of the cast as well, stood up and said that they would walk out if they removed Del Toro as the director. And because Sorvino at the time, I think, was Tarantino's girlfriend, and Miramax was releasing a lot of Tarantino movies, they didn't want to upset her. And also there's a lot of, there's a story from the Me Too movement about how Sorvino feels like her career may have been altered by Weinstein because of her not.
Y'all know Weinstein.
Yeah.
He made advances. She said no.
She said no. And she was very kind and friendly, but she just averted all of his advances. And then she stopped being in movies.
I don't even care if she was kind and friendly, you know?
Like, no, yeah, I agree. It doesn't matter if you're kind or not. But it wasn't even like she angrily rejected him. It was just like.
No, he's just a petty small man.
Yeah,
and when she said no, he wrecked her career.
Yes. And that's kind of what happened. I think this is one of, I think Mira did a couple more movies after this, but as you all know, we didn't see her continue on her career shortly after this. So this is setting it up to be a terrible movie, as in like the studio's going to ruin everything. There is a couple other things that I'm going to pepper in later that I don't want to pepper in until we actually talk about those moments. But the other part that I wanted to talk about is that the character Mira Sorvino plays, Dr. Susan Tyler, who we're just going to call Mira the entire time.
Yep, sorry.
And who we find out is her husband, Dr. Peter Mann, is actually, they didn't like each other.
Well, that explains the lack of
There's
chemistry.
No chemistry. Yeah. I'm glad we both felt the same way. Yeah, there's no chemistry in that movie. Yeah, I still enjoyed sitting through it. So to me, it wasn't. I didn't pause it. I paused it and I was like, "That's unexpected," but I wasn't. I wasn't like, I'm upset that I have to watch the rest of this. But it was like, I guess I did. I did watch the trailer, so I knew things that were coming that I was looking forward to. And plus, I love bugs. So this was kind of like, I was like, oh, yay, bugs.
Yeah, I knew you'd love that.
Love them bugs.
When I started it and it quickly became apparent that it was a bug and a pandy movie, I was like, no, no. No. Yeah.
It is a rough start.
I just feel like this movie is a lot of knots. Like it isn't anything. It isn't something. It's a lot of like marks that were missed. There's a lot that's like, oh, if they had just done this, it would have been cool. Like probably if Del Toro had just been able to make the movie he wanted, it'd be great.
Yep.
I am interested in reading the short story, so long as it is sufficiently short. So I think that there's like something here. It just didn't captivate me the way I wanted it to.
That's understandable.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it. Let's hit these main characters. So there's a whole mess of people in this movie. As I was taking notes while watching it, I was like, I don't know half their names. I feel very overwhelmed by how many people are here. So to start, I'm just going to cover the four like main characters, and we'll tack some more on as we go. So as Chelsea mentioned, we've got Mira Sorvino as Dr. Susan Tyler. She's our main protagonist. She's a hot entomologist and a very smart lady, a doctor. And then there's her husband, Dr. Peter Mann, who is the deputy director of the CDC at the CDC. Is that is he deputy director of the whole thing or of like the Manhattan division?
It's all of it.
I don't know. He's very cocky. It could go either way. And then there is Chewy, a very sweet autistic kid who witnesses some very horrific things. And then there is Chewy's guardian, Manny. We don't know if that's his dad. We don't know if that's his grandpa. We don't know if he kidnapped him when he was younger. We don't know the story here. All we know is that Manny loves Chewie very much. So the movie starts with like a prelude. In the prelude, we learn that oh no, first we got to talk about the credits. So many bugs in the credits. I was so unhappy.
I liked the bugs, but it was a lot of either moths or butterflies.
Yeah.
Not a lot of, like beetles.
Creepy crawls.
Cool.
You want creepy crawls.
Nothing else. Which is weird because the movie has absolutely nothing to do with butterflies or moths.
No.
But it wasn't a super well done intro credits because it just like it missed a lot of opportunities to like type the names down and different, because it would flash to different things that were like written or typed, and it could have easily integrated that into it, but it did not. And it just did a lot of flashes. My problem wasn't the bugs, but it was the flashes. And I got to a point where I was like, normally this doesn't impact me very bad, but right now I don't know if it's, the stress that has erupted some shingles. But right now those flashes are just bringing on a little bit of a migraine.
Yeah, there were just a lot of bug noises. That's what got me.
Oh yeah,
I don't love that.
A lot of buzzing.
Yeah, a lot of buzzing, a lot of fluttering. There's gonna be a lot of bug noises through this whole movie. Lots of bug noises. Not like these. It's all like roach clicking from here on out. So looking back, the credits were great. Like looking back, wing fluttering noises, that's fine. So this opens in this prelude, and I don't know, we established like right off the top that it's a pandemic movie, and I was like, here we fucking go. Like, I don't want to be thinking about this. And Mira Sorvino shows up. She has been called in by Peter Mann. They are not married yet at this movie. They're just meeting. And he is like begging her for help, surrounded by people in hospital beds. And this is like a makeshift hospital, pretty clearly. It looks like a Civil War scene. You know what I'm saying?
And it's all children.
All children.
And they're like mini beds. They're not even like normal size beds. They're like half beds.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
The children thing is kind of a reveal. Like, we're walking through this hall, and Peter is explaining like, this is Strickler's disease. All of these people are sick. Most of them aren't going to make it. The best case scenario for them is that they spend the rest of their life in leg braces. And then they like pull back a curtain and we see that it's kids. And I was like, no, not only is it a pandemic movie, but it's getting the kids. Like, I don't need this right now. I've got this weird Cronenberg rash on my chest. But yeah, Peter is like begging Sorvino for help. And then we like cut to Mira in a hazmat suit entering a tunnel. And you had some good observations about this the last time we recorded.
Whenever I saw her enter the tunnel, it's a circle, and there's like plastic with a slit in the middle, and they just pull it back from the sides.
Yep.
And they let her in, and it was very it looked like she was,
it was vaginal is what you're saying.
She was definitely entering, and then like it felt very much like she was symbolism as like her as the mother coming in, but she wouldn't be the mother, because I guess she was like inseminating, because she was letting these other bugs out to kill the bugs.
Yeah, let's talk about those other bugs, and then we're going to have to talk about the motherhood thing throughout this movie, because
there's a lot of symbolism for it, but you don't, spoiler, but you don't, I feel like it doesn't.
No, it doesn't pay off.
That end doesn't get tied up.
No,
yeah, that doesn't get tied up.
Yeah, so she's entering this tunnel through the
vagina?
The plastic labias. And what she's doing, she has this like little contraption. It's like a reverse roach motel. Like, she already has the bugs in little rooms, and she goes into the tunnel and releases them. You know what? I think I forgot to mention something. This pandemic is only affecting Manhattan for now. She goes into this tunnel with this contraption. She releases a bunch of bugs, and the bugs leave their little roach motel and start like shitting foam everywhere.
Excreting, I guess, is the
fine.
bug term, the entomologist term.
Yeah, I'm not a scientist. So, and as that happens, the roaches that live in the tunnel that are spreading the pandemic die. And then we flash forward a little to, and this is something that's only in the director's cut. So we flash forward to like an award ceremony about it.
I see the award ceremony.
Okay.
I have that Dr. Mann was eating some Chinese food. They were watching the ceremony. The ceremony was from some time ago.
To be fair, it has been like 2 weeks since I watched this movie, so maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But the way I remember it is that we are with Sorvino at the awards ceremony, and Peter is there too, and like we are experiencing it in real time with them. And then later we see them watching the TV. So in this, at the award ceremony, they're talking about how there was no cure and there was no vaccine. And so we had to call in the entomologist to instead kill the thing that was spreading the disease. And I was like, great, movie can end here. We solved it.
We're done.
No
Pandemic
more
over.
Pandemic. I loved this. This was a great little trip. And here's
Is this
where they
you
explain.
looked at to see how much was left on the movie?
No. Yeah. So in the scene though, we learn that the way she solved it, right? She's an entomologist. What's she do in solving a pandemic? She created a new species of bug called the Judas breed. And the thing about them is their metabolism is super fast. So they either like eat each other or starve. So they were intended to live a very short time. Like their whole job was to go in and be a Judas to these other bugs and make sure that those roaches died. And then they too would die. And then we can all move on with our lives, except for those kids who didn't get a cure. I guess they're just in their leg braces forever.
Yeah. And this is a termite mantis hybrid.
Yes, it's a termite mantis hybrid. Through the whole movie, I thought that it was cockroaches. I thought it was just additional cockroaches, but it's a termite mantis hybrid, and the mantis hands will play into this. So yeah, then we see Sorvino and Peter, and they are like this is what Chelsea was talking about. They're like watching this award ceremony a year later or whatever, and they have like a brief conversation. They have a brief conversation about how she's not confident that we know the full impact of what they've done yet.
She also pulls out a jar that has one of the Judas breed in it.
Oh, that's right. Ew. How is it dead? Was it dead?
It was dead. It was super dead. Yeah.
How is it not like all crumbly?
It was in liquid.
Oh, she got like she got that from aldehyde.
It's like a preserved. It's a little preserved.
Is this the lingerie scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like looking at this bug in her lingerie in the bathroom.
And, I know. It's just something you do on Tuesdays. Do you not look at your bug collection and take a bath in your lingerie on Tuesdays?
I'm going to be honest with you. No.
Okay. I thought it was everybody.
Does it have to be Tuesday? I have therapy on Tuesdays. Should I move that?
You can do both.
Take therapy from the tub in my lingerie with my bugs. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll talk to Joan.
Solved everything. You're welcome.
She's going to be like, that was the final step. We can cancel therapy now. You just have to, that's what you have to do.
You have proven that you are completely healed and sane when you have taken a bath with your bugs.
Oh, you finally discovered lingerie baths. Okay. All right.
We're there. That's all they were waiting for.
You can stop taking your antidepressants. Yeah, so I don't know. This is where we learned that they are a married couple now, and I guess are horny for each other. Congrats.
Yeah. Well, they go into the bathtub fully clothed.
Yeah.
Seems counterintuitive.
Is that not how you have sex?
Fully clothed in the bathtub?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we're learning stuff about each other today. I only take my baths with my bugs fully clothed.
Okay.
But I don't have somebody else fully clothed and they're with me. Where would the bug sit?
That's true. It was a clawfoot. She can't like set it on the side. She's got to hold it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think that we're going to have to like get a spreadsheet going and
I'll go door to door and take a poll.
Yeah. We got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's 3 years later, and we see a preacher on a roof of a building. It's night. We're still in Manhattan, and he is like clearly trying to escape from something. He's like trying to close the door to the roof, and he is already injured, and whatever was trying to get through the door bursts through, and it's like, we don't get a great look, but it's like pretty clearly humanoid. It's maybe in a cloak. It's not human because it just broke that door down.
Yep.
So it's a monster. We don't know yet exactly what it is. He jumps off the roof trying to escape this monster, and he lands on a
scaffolding, like
a painter's scaffolding, and like falls and hits his head pretty bad.
He hits his head on a paint can, and the paint can splatters. There is 0 blood splatter at this point, but he is knocked out. Sound effects were pretty good.
And while this is happening, we see Chewie across the street, the little kid we were talking about. He's watching this, and he's like not super reacting to how scary this is. Instead, he is mimicking the sound of the monster with a pair of spoons. So Chewie is like, since his dad works with shoes, he's either a cobbler or like a shoe shine guy. We know he's like a shoe shine guy.
Like a shoe guy.
He's a shoe guy. And Chewie can like identify both size and brand of shoe by sound. And he can mimic the sounds of hard-soled shoes with a pair of spoons. He just goes clickety-clack, clickety-clack, and can be like, that's what you sound like in your boots, or whatever. So he's like mimicking the sound that this monster is making. And he's going to call this monster Mr. Funny Shoes throughout the movie, because that's how he like identifies people, is by their shoes. And this monster has funny shoes. So he's just like, I don't know, he's just watching this. And the monster drags the priest into like a storm drain. And it makes a horrible sound.
This is a scene that was kind of weird because it seemed like it was doing something, and then it had to redo the thing that it was doing, because it seemed to want to scare you that it was like breaking the man as he was going down. But it's like the first time they pulled him too well, and they had to push him back out and like lift him up and then like crack his ribs. It was a pretty weird scene. And then they like
shift him side to side.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, he fits, guys. Is that a problem? Does he not need to fit? Anyway, he's dead.
And this, here's a scene that Chelsea didn't see.
I did not have.
Mira is at work, and they're like preparing a celebration for the end of the pandemic or whatever. They're like hanging a banner, and her husband shows up to like have a cheeky lunch with her in a weird hallway of the museum. Where does she work? The school?
Museum of Natural History.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And he pulls something out of his pocket, which she identifies as a vial of nun urine.
So he did actually bring nun urine? Is that what was in the vial? Or
no, I don't think so.
Like,
she said something like she takes the vial and she like shakes it, and she's like, this comes from nun urine, right?
Oh, so that is the pregnancy one. So it is being like nun urine here for your pregnancy. Yeah, did not have that scene at all.
Yeah, and I know now because I've Googled it that like there used to be a drug distilled from nun urine to treat infertility. So this was meant to signal to us that they want to get pregnant. In this scene, I know you didn't see it. In this scene, she seems like reluctant about the pregnancy, not the nun urine. Also the nun urine, but the pregnancy. So maybe that's why it got cut, because spoiler, they get pregnant in the movie.
What?
Yeah, sorry. Wait, do you really not know?
She didn't get pregnant. Wait, what?
Wait, you didn't get the pregnancy storyline?
Where's when did that happen? Because I only had the part where she peed and then she wasn't pregnant.
Oh my God. Okay.
You guys, we watched 2 different movies. I'm so sorry. This is going to be so hard.
Okay. We will get there.
There was a pregnancy storyline, but she never got pregnant.
Okay, she did in the movie that I saw. Okay, so the husband gets called away from their nun urine lunch to go investigate the crime scene of the priest, because I guess when they got in there, stuff was
there was a bunch of people there.
And there's so many people. Yeah. So we learned that the building that the priest was on top of was a church, and the church was like a front for the triads. I don't know.
What are the triads?
That's like it's like I'm not trying to be racist when I say that I'm not sure. It's either a Chinese or a Japanese gang.
So did the people want to be down there?
No, I think that they were being humanly
held
trafficked.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good news. Good for them, getting them out of that situation.
Yeah, get them out.
Then is the bug our anti-hero? Like, is the bug a good dude? Actually, I low-key thought that at this point. I was like, maybe they're cleaning up they're cleaning up the crime.
Oh, you think that they're like vigilante bugs?
Yeah, they're definitely not. We find out that for sure is not what they are pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Because
also,
of their
the monsters
kills.
Are the bugs.
Or are they? Are they the monsters?
I do think the question of who is the real monster here is a good one, though.
Mm-hmm. And we'll keep asking it.
So, yeah, the husband is like, yeah, yuck, weird stuff is going on down here. There's like weird bug poops. I don't know. There's weird stuff down here.
Poops. And this is where we get introduced to Josh.
Yeah.
Who is a FBI agent played by Josh Brolin.
No, he's just a CDC. He's like, he works for the CDC.
No, he was a detective.
Yeah, a CDC detective.
No, he brought him in because of the poop. He brought the husband in because of the poop, but he was just investigating the murder.
Huh, okay. All right, so Josh shows up.
Not 100% sure, but he gave off the vibes of like detective. And that's how they get a warrant later, is through him.
That tracks.
And he had a trench coat.
No,
Detectives have trench coats.
No,
he did. He totally did.
No, he had like a leather jacket. He was like a bad boy.
Are you just picturing? I mean, he looks like he would have a leather jacket. Was it a trench coat, leather jacket? It was the 90s,
a duster?
maybe.
Did he have a duster? I don't know. None of this matters. Josh is here, and this is Josh Brolin, and he's here investigating the murder in some capacity. The only reason I wanted to mention this scene is because the people that they are rescuing from the like bowels of this church, they don't speak English, but there is a woman who is like visibly sick and distressed, and she's being taken out on a stretcher, and we get a translator who says that she is repeating that something like dark angels were like coming to get her. So she's seen these monsters that the priest was dealing with. Or bugs. I'm sorry. I won't call them monsters until we determine their morality. Okay. Cut to Sorvino at her work. Sorvino is telling her lab assistant about an experiment she's doing with grasshoppers. She's using like sounds and pheromones to direct the movements of grasshoppers in order to like drive them out of farmers' fields. So it's a way to de-pest your bullshit without pesticides. Yep. So she's talking bugs, and then a pair of like 11-year-old boys show up at the office, and they have like a bag of bugs for her. They've just been out rustling in the streets and hustling to get these bugs. And then they reveal that they have like a big special weird bug. They just call it the weird bug. And they like haggle with her to get the price up for that one. And they leave the weird bug in a big box, and she goes back to whatever it was she was doing, and the box is like shaking.
I was gonna say before this though, she does take the time to show the kids. So she's showing these kids this termite mound, and she's trying to describe how termites act, and I can't remember a lot about it. They talk about there being one male, bunch of females, and that they're all warriors, and that they will fight until they're dead.
Yeah, that's important. That they're in a colony of termites. There's only the one fertile male.
Yes, and they will fight until they're dead, and even if they're mostly dead, they just fight. They will do anything to protect their species. I guess it would be their species because it'd be the baby makers.
Yeah. I don't know. They be fighting. And while after these kids leave, Sorvino just goes back to her regular work, and the weird bug that they brought her, the box it's in, keeps shaking. And so she finally goes to investigate it. And this bug is so big. It's so big. I mean, I guess it's small compared to the rest of it's like a chihuahua.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
I was so upset. She She sees what it is, says ominously, "We got to go find those kids," and continues to investigate the weird giant bug, which she calls a baby.
It is a baby.
I understand that, but if I saw a bug that big, I'd be like, he's somebody's great, 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 great grandfather. Like he's just been growing for so long. I don't know, so big. And it stabs her in the hand.
Yep.
So she like pins it, entomologist style, and just sort of walks away. She goes to read her notes on the Judas breed because when she sees this bug, she is like, uh-oh, I think I know what this is. And while this is happening, we see Mr. Funny Shoes outside just like lurking. He's just lurking. So she's like reading through her notes and she's like, oh no, like the Judas breed were sterile. So they shouldn't have been able to reproduce. And they had a life expectancy of 180 days. And it's been 3 years. So like, What the fuck? What am I saying? So Mr. Funny Shoes breaks into the lab and steals the weird bug, steals the weird baby bug. And like the lights go out and Sorvino is like searching around on the floor trying to find weird baby bug, but it's gone. And while she is like looking, we see Mr. Funny Shoes up on the ceiling behind her, and then he like flies out of the window. That's upsetting. That's an upsetting thing to happen. She didn't see any of this, so she's not upset about that specifically. But Sorvino goes home and tells Peter that the Judases are breeding, and that's very ominous.
She also says, I need to go back to the office tonight.
Yeah.
But he's like, you're not going. Somebody broke into your... And he's like, the police are on it.
Okay, well, the police are Josh Brolin, so...
He's on it.
Yeah, he's a dope. Okay, so Sorvino said that we needed to find those kids who brought in the weird bug. So the next day, she and Peter are off looking for the kids. They find them. And she's like asking, where did you find weird bug? And have you seen eggs?
This thing.
Yeah, she is like printed off.
It doesn't look like it. It's like an egg sac, but it's like a bug. Eggs. I would not have thought eggs were in it.
Yeah.
It just looks like a hard shell. It looks like one of those roly-poly.
Oh.
With it's kind of gooey.
It's pretty gooey. We're going to see one in a minute. It's pretty gooey. So the kids tell them like, hey, we found this in like the subway. So they are in the subway and they are in like an abandoned part of the subway. It looks like maybe an old bathroom, and it becomes clear that it's like above something that goes much deeper. And Peter drops his flashlight in here and is trying to get it like out from under, I don't know, a cabinet or something.
Yeah.
But reaching your hand in there goes into like a deeper part, and there's a Mr. Funny Shoes down there. It's so scary, big bug. And Mira is like using her tiny hands. She's got little kid hands, so she can reach down there to try and get the flashlight. And the bug is approaching, and it's gonna get her. But then a cop comes in, and she has to stand up and get away from the bug. She didn't even know she was in danger. Only I knew. And the cop is like, what the fuck? You cannot be in here. Like, what are your credentials? Oh, you're an entomologist and you work for the CDC? Like, get out. No. Come back with a warrant. And was this Leonard?
It was Leonard. Yeah, it was Leonard.
Okay. Leonard and Manny are my favorite characters, but he's shitty in this scene. Like, he like talks over Sorvino. And
yeah,
is like,
that was really terrible. Am I talking to you?
Then Peter like nods at Mira as though to say like, I'll handle this with my big swinging dick. Like, fuck off. So she like walks away and lets them have their pissing contest. And she runs into Chewie and Manny. So Manny is like, he's shoe shining in the subway, and Chewie is mimicking the footsteps of people as they're walking by. And yeah, the cop insists that they come back with a warrant.
But I also like this
Peter's
exchange
butthurt about it. Yeah,
because they are very angry with each other, but they're saying very civil things. And I thought it was really silly. Yeah, it was like, you have to come back with a warrant. okay, I will definitely come back with one. Thank you. You're welcome. Like, it was a lot of politeness in a very sassy tone. And I was like, that was a strange exchange.
Anyway, they leave the subway, and then we see the little entrepreneurial kids from earlier out looking for these weird eggs. Like, instead of being like, oh, these eggs are dangerous and we should tell Sorvino, they're out looking for them, hoping to make a profit. And they find big egg sack. It's big. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be. And there's goo everywhere. And like one of them falls into the goo. And then we're hearing like the weird clicky rattling noises from up the tunnel. And Mr. Funny Shoes shows up, and he is holding a dead dog.
Yeah, that it looks like he is eaten.
He's eating it. Yeah. This is not good. And the monster just gets them both, like, real quick. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't have thought. And they were, but that's the part where I am like, oh, okay, they are the antagonists because these are children. That's when I was like, okay, this is a different movie than I thought it would be. This was darker. So this was like where I first got the hints of it being darker and that they're not going to shy away from who they kill or what they kill.
Yeah. So then Sorvino goes to a colleague. He was like, I don't think we should have done this. Like, you can't go futzing with DNA. Like, who do you think you are, God?
When she went and she was like, hey, we did this. It was bad. And he was like, I thought I was bad at the time. Yeah. But I have 2 grandchildren. Yeah. He ultimately is like, you saved my family. And therefore I am conflicted on this subject. Yeah. And she is like pleading with him. She's like, but they all died in the lab. And he's like, yeah, but you let them out into the world. He said the world is the biggest petri dish or something. Like, the world is different because you're not in a controlled setting, which is a good point. So she should have known that.
Yeah, she's a scientist. So then it's nighttime again, and we're with Chewie again, and he's hearing these noises from across the street, which is the church where the people were being trafficked and the preacher died. And Chewie, little Mr. Curious, goes over there to investigate, and it's a creepy old church, and there's like statues in the pews looking all creepy. Yeah.
Why were they just in the pews? Like, they were sitting in the pews. Are there a lot of churches that have seated statues?
I don't know, but Chewie
I don't
is
think
there.
We need to know, I guess.
No, and he's got his little spoons, and so he's mimicking these bug noises, which are like clicky noises, and I was like, oh no, is he gonna like woo them somehow? Is he gonna accidentally like?
But I was like, does he understand
become their
what they're
queen?
Saying?
No, no. But the noises like
communicate.
Attract the big bugs. Big bugs.
The Judas breed.
The Judases, who are human-sized now. And here is the first time that we see that there are multiple of them. Like, there's a whole pack of them that show up. And you're like, fuck, that was not just a one-off that we've been seeing. And then we cut to another scene, and it's city workers the next day. They're doing some sort of maintenance, and they find the body of a dead kid. Did you not get this scene?
The scene was cut out of mine.
Oh, this was so stressful. So city workers, they're like... I don't know what city workers do. There was a big pipe. There was a lot of water. Something was in there.
There's a leak. You got to unleak
it. Clogging the thing.
It. Got it. Was it the body?
It was the body. And it's the body of a dead kid.
Yeah,
and
totally. I did not have this part.
And you're like, no, Chewie, no. And then we cut immediately.
Oh, that would be one of the dark scenes that they probably would have been really anti having in the movie.
I guess so. Then we see... Mira in the bathroom at their house, and she's like standing in front of the mirror, like looking at her belly. She has just taken a pregnancy test, and Peter comes in all happy. He's like, haha, what did I just catch you doing? Because it sounds like, well, I don't know, different things happened in our different movies. I don't know. Peter's happy to see her like considering pregnancy and that she's taking a test, but somebody calls. Somebody on the phone calls. Peter answers it, hands it to Mira, and whoever on the phone basically says like, we found something, and Sorvino like rushes out to go see what it is that they found.
Mhm.
But before she leaves, they get the results of the pregnancy test, which is that she's not pregnant. And Peter like comforts her. He's like, don't worry, we'll try again. So she leaves, and he goes on and like gets ready for his day. And then he is like in the bathroom again before he's going to leave for the day, and happens to look down into the trash can where they threw away the pregnancy test, and sees that it has turned positive.
Yeah, that was cut out.
Yeah.
That was
so she's
completely cut
pregnant. She's pregnant.
Wait, so does Peter this changed my view of the film, because does Peter think that he's keeping from him that she's pregnant?
It's a little bit complicated. So he tries to call her to tell her. He tries to call her while they're about to descend into the subway. While he's in the subway with Leonard and with Leonard and Josh, he tries to call Mira to tell her, because she was supposed to go down with them, but she gets distracted with this other stuff. And he tries to call her. The signal is bad. He's shouting like it was positive or whatever. Like, I don't remember what he says.
That never happened in my movie.
Yeah. So he tries to tell her, but the signal is too bad. She doesn't hear it. But then like through the rest of the movie, he's like super protective of her and won't let her take any risks. And that's what it's about.
Oh, I did remember those parts, but I didn't think so. She didn't know.
She didn't know, which I don't love. Like,
it's a bad thing not to tell someone, because then they can do risky things.
Well, but also like let her take risk. Like, sure, tell her. Like, don't keep it a secret. Like, tell her immediately. But also,
let her decide whether or not she wants to take the risk.
Who gets to make choices.
Agreed. But it should be her that decides on whether or not she takes the risk in that case.
Yeah. So in the movie I watched, she was pregnant.
Okay. In the movie I watched, she was not.
So,
wow. I feel like this is a completely different movie now.
No, I don't think it changes much. Because it's like, they don't commit to it, you know? Like, it doesn't...
Well, like, I guess he just protects her because he cares about her later for my version. But it literally had nothing to do with her being pregnant.
Yeah.
Which might be a better... Because it feels like he's just protecting the baby, which I don't like.
Yeah, I just don't like Peter, I think.
Yeah, I appreciated mine that he wanted to, like, protect her, because I thought he was just protecting her.
Yeah.
So I like that narrative better than I like the narrative of protecting her just because she's pregnant.
I guess I do too. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Because
that makes me not like him, and I liked him fine. Like, I wasn't excited about him.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that did have more of an impact than I thought, because I actively do not like him.
Yeah, I thought he was fine. Like, I was like, he's just there. And then, like, because of the, like, I did have pretty negative feelings, and I didn't care about him until the part where he did protect her. And then I was like, oh, okay, he is a decent dude. But now that you're telling me this, I'm like, oh, okay. It had nothing to do with her. I mean, it had maybe some to do with her. But
just like as a vessel.
And I don't like that. I do not like that.
I already thought that he was sexist because of the conversation that he had with Leonard.
I think there's a good chance that this entire movie might be sexist.
I mean, it was 97, produced by Harvey Weinstein.
It had no choice.
It never stood a chance. Next up is when Manny discovers that Chewie is missing. And this scene upset me so much. Yeah. Manny is like, he wakes up in the morning and he's like puttering about the house and making breakfast. And he's like talking to himself about how like when he was a kid, you could never sleep in like this. Oh, Chewie has it so good. And so he goes to like wake Chewie up and finds that he is missing. And so he calls the police immediately. And the police are like, it hasn't been 48 hours. You can't report a missing person.
Which is not true. Yeah. That's also not true. I mean, the 48-hour rule, I don't know where that comes from, but it's not real.
I had never even heard 48. I had always heard 24. Is that not real either?
You can do it within hours of somebody going away.
I knew that you could for kids. You can do it with adults.
You can do it for adults just when you think someone is in... You can do a missing persons if you're like, they've been gone for like 10 minutes.
Oh. No, now I'm upset that nobody has reported me as missing when I disappear.
I mean, you're here now. If you do disappear, I will report it.
How long?
If you do not show up to our recording schedule, I will report it 15 minutes.
Thank you. Same, ditto. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank goodness.
To be fair, if you didn't show up here, I'd probably try to get in contact with Ryan first.
Yeah, that's valid.
Hopefully he has already filed a missing persons report
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah.
If he didn't murder me.
Shit. You do always suspect the spouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
okay. Here's
fine.
Here's what I'm saying is...
I mean, yeah, contact him first if he sounds a little iffy.
Yeah, if he sounds shady in the least, or if he's like, don't worry about it, I'm calling the cops immediately. Yeah. And I don't even like the cops. Is there somebody else I can call? Okay. Well,
you can
I need to research that.
I'll give you 2 other phone numbers to call of neighbors in my area.
But I mean,
they can go check on me.
Like,
will they also get murdered by Ryan?
Shit.
Now I'm just worried he's gonna kill me.
He's not gonna kill you. How's that little doll he found doing? Is he possessed yet?
I keep forgetting about it, and I wish that people would stop Oh no.
Julius? Was that his name? What was it?
I don't know. He keeps naming it, and I keep saying stop naming it because then you're giving it power. I don't know. I'm not even going to look it up.
Okay. So the police tell Manny it hasn't been 48 hours, and he just hangs up the phone so dejected. But then he finds so Chewie also makes little figurines out of wire. And he finds a figurine of Mr. Funny Shoes on the windowsill and decides, Chewie probably went over to the church across the street where he has seen Mr. Funny Shoes. So Chewie goes over there and we are hearing footsteps and the bug clicks, which you'll remember sound like Chewie's spoons. So Manny thinks that it is Chewie approaching, but I know that it's a giant bug and I'm scared. And then it cuts to Peter and Josh, who in my notes, I have him as his assistant.
No,
but
he just came back because he got them the warrant.
Yeah, they take their warrant to the subway to Leonard. He's the best.
Leonard.
We love Leonard. He did not shine in that last scene he was in.
No.
But he's gonna shine the rest of the movie.
For sure.
And they
his shoes shined by Manny. He was also my favorite character. I would have taken him just a buddy cop movie with them or something.
That would have been a better movie.
Yeah,
I don't even like that type of movie, and that'd have been better.
Do you know what's a buddy cop movie? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
You're making good points. You're making great points. Okay, so the whole gang. It's not the whole gang. It's just Peter and Josh. They go to the subway. They're waving around their warrant. They show it to Leonard, and he's like, "Fucking fine. We will go into the weird bathroom and then below." And there are 5 stories of below to go into. And Leonard is not happy about it. But they are heading down there. And Leonard tells them about the mole people, which is a very disrespectful way to refer to people experiencing homelessness who used to take shelter in the tunnels. And Leonard goes on to say that one day they were just all gone. And there are rumors of a serial killer down there wearing a trench coat. Oh, is this where you got trench coat?
Maybe it is. But then after that, my brain just pictured everybody in trench coats.
That's cool.
Mira Sorvino in a beautiful, long beige trench coat, that ladies do that are high fashion.
Like the camel hair trenches?
Maybe.
She'd look great in that.
And then Dr. Mann in a lab coat.
Oh, I was imagining him in just I
didn't want to give him anything nice.
I know. I was going to say the ugliest trench coat. I was imagining him in a...
What trench coat would Leonard be in? Oh, it would be brightly colored.
Yeah.
It would be fun. It would be super fun.
Yeah, he's telling them about how there's the rumor of the serial killer in a trench coat. That's Mr. Funny Shoes. That's one of these Judases. They look like maybe now is a good time to describe what they look like. They do look like a person in a trench coat.
Dark figure, about 10 feet tall. Would that be a basketball player?
It's just a bunch of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's. That's the super tall one, right? Did I do a sports? Did I do a sports reference?
Most of them. Shaq's really tall.
Yeah, let's go Shaq. They're just a bunch of Shaqs in trench coats.
They're a little bit less wide.
Yeah,
Shaq.
okay.
Shaq's pretty wide.
Yeah, he's got them broad shoulders. I wonder if they smell like icy hot, which is what I imagine Shaq smells like. No, they smell like ammonia. Anyway, so we're learning about the serial killer. Then we cut to Sorvino. So do you remember my anxiety about the human child that the city workers found? So Sorvino is at the lab. It wasn't a human child. It's not Chewie. It is a Judas. It's a Judas, a child-sized Judas. Sorvino's friend takes it to Walter, her coworker from earlier, and he does like an autopsy.
Yes.
And is like, oh, this couldn't have evolved in a vacuum. Like this isn't a one-off. This for sure has a colony, and also it's a soldier. Yeah. Like this confirms what we've been seeing, that there are like bugs out here who are going to be murderous. And Peter and Josh are still like bit-bopping around in the tunnels. This is sort of a funny scene. Leonard finds like goopy stuff on the walls and ceilings. And Peter is like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is any of this? And Leonard is like, do you think I have seen shit like this before? Like Leonard is so exasperated.
He keeps repeating it in this like different phrasing. He's like, do you think I've seen? Have I seen? Is there shit like this that I have been around?
Right.
Like, why would I have been around shit like this? Do you think that shit like this has come into my life before?
So just shit like this in my life?
This? Of course not.
No. You're the CDC. Have you seen shit like this? Yeah.
This might be the point where you're like, oh, Leonard,
all right,
you and I, this movie, we're gonna take this ride together.
Yeah, Leonard, hell yeah.
Your incredulousnse at the shit hanging from the ceiling, we're the same. Yeah. My reaction.
Why does it smell like ammonia down here? I don't know. So Sorvino is in the subway, like waiting for Peter, and she's like looking at Polaroids of this giant bug that they found, and she like folds them together in a way that looks like a human face. And that's like what they're up to. They've got human faces if they put their mantis hands in front of their real bug face. So they've got termite faces, but their little mantis hands have evolved to look like old men. She's just chilling here. And then like the subway is closing. It's getting late at night. So she's looking around and she sees a person in a trench coat, and she's like, hey, do you have the time? And she starts approaching him and as she gets closer, it's like, oh, it's a Judas. It's a giant Judas. And it it grabs her and flies away with her down the subway tunnel, Lord of the Rings style. Very scary. The owls were cool in Lord of the Rings. So then there's like a hard cut to Leonard and Josh and Peter, and they get themselves into a situation. They are standing up. We've got more scaffolding. And it's just Peter and Leonard on the scaffolding, and the scaffolding like collapses underneath them, and they fall into an even lower level. You shook your head. Did something else happen?
No, I was gonna say, and this is also the point where Leonard was like, he walked over and he was super excited because he was like, oh, this is the old armory. And this is where you kind of figure out that Leonard is a super subway nerd, and he is like kind of obsessed with all of the history of the New York subway and everything in it. And he was just kind of excited to see. He was like, no one's been down this deep. And he was like looking around kind of like a little giddy. And it was like, I don't know, that moment when you see someone that is...
He's so passionate about it. He's so excited to be here. Yeah.
The moment you see someone that's seeing something that they love and just like, good job, actor who plays Leonard. Yeah. Like I felt that excitement. I felt excited. I was like, oh, you get to see the armory. I'm so happy.
Yeah. He was like, he's clearly, I mean, like you said, a subway nerd and maybe a history nerd. He knows all about like what used to be down here, which why do you know that? Why do you know what used to be down here? And later he's going to know like how to fucking wire a subway car and like what year the subway car is from. And like,
and be excited about that
he's
too.
So excited. He's just a big dork. Ugh. We love Leonard. So yeah, Leonard and Peter like fall down another level, and the scaffolding was the only way up. So Josh is up above them, and he ultimately goes for help. I wanted to talk about this scene though. First of all, Peter is being shitty through this whole thing. He's just like,
Yeah.
like you being a little shithead is not going to help anybody out of this. So calm down and try to be productive. And Josh is whining that he has to go for help. He's like, how am I going to find my way out? And Leonard is like, it's easy. First you turn left, then you turn left again. Then after that, you turn right.
Leonard was like, just go up. You'll be there at some point.
Up. Peter finally is like, Josh, shut the fuck up. Like, throw down the glow sticks. They brought like those glow sticks that you take into tunnels, and then go for help. And Josh is like, fine. And he leaves. He doesn't throw down the glow sticks.
He doesn't. I also noticed that, and I was like, well, I guess it is light enough that they don't need it.
For now.
But where is that light coming from?
5 stories above.
It's a lot of light. Did they also shoot, is it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2? Is it the first one or the second one where they go into the subways and they create their lair? I think it's shot in the same place.
I mean, all subways look the same.
Are all subways in a studio?
As far as I know.
Every one of them. Well, that like the dome with the glass. That's definitely in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
And I was like, why? You guys have turtles here. They'll help.
They'll help.
And
they'll have snacks,
bugs.
You know?
Yeah.
Do turtles eat bugs? Okay. In a fight,
they do, don't they?
In a fight, let's say one turtle v. Mr. Funny Shoes. One Mr. Funny Shoes v. one turtle. Who's winning?
Wait, is it a mutant turtle or normal turtle?
Yes, just a snapping turtle.
Well, definitely Mr. Funny Shoes.
No.
If we're talking snapping turtle, so TMNT, they aren't snapping turtles because a snapping turtle gets. I don't know the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lore enough, but there is a snapping turtle, but it's on the evil side.
Of
DJ
course.
and Bebop.
Okay, sure. Okay, no,
I don't want to upset any of our listeners.
Can I name a single Mutant Ninja Turtle?
Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello.
Let me get one. Hold on.
I left you one. I'm so sorry.
D'Artagnan. No, that's a musketeer.
Not
That's a musketeer. Hold on. You said, who did you say? You said Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello, and Portho. I got it.
Yeah, Portho. Portho's definitely
Which is the rude dude? One of them is rude, right?
I can't remember. I mean, they're all a little sassy, but they're not. None of them are Pablo. Going with painters.
Sheldon and Sheldon.
No one's named Sheldon. No one. We've got Raphael. Leonardo. Oh my God. How could I forget Leonardo?
I don't know, but I'm embarrassed because before you named any, the name I reached for as a joke name was Da Vinci.
Close.
Like I fucking had it. And I let it go. I just, at this point in the movie, it was like, are they kidnapping her because they need a queen?
That's what I thought too.
Like,
and
did
I was
something
like,
happen to the queen?
Especially if they did not kill her. Like, they killed everybody else immediately.
But they just like take her down into the tunnels and she like wakes up and she's fine. She's scared, but she's fine. There's like creepy bug noises happening, but she's alone and she reaches for a pipe to pick up as a weapon. But then she takes a moment to cry. She doesn't collapse or anything. She just takes a brief moment. She's still holding the pipe as a weapon, cries for a second, gets over it, moves on. I love that. I feel like I have been there so many times in my life. Like, I'm so stressed. I just have to get through this situation. Give me 1 second. I got to shed 3 tears. Just give me 3.
Just 3. And I will be back.
And then we're schooling our features and we're back on track.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's what happened here. And then she uses that to stab one of the Judases as it approaches. And she has to like run. She's running and she jumps down a manhole. And then we cut to Josh. He's like ineptly trying to find his way out and he's hearing bug noises and he finds like a closet full of bug goo. More eggs, maybe? I assume it's more eggs. Yeah. and something is like approaching, and he's trying to get out, and he is about to make it up out of a grate, but he gets got. Do you remember what happens here? I just have pretty bloody, and I have no memory of it.
I gotcha. I got this.
He's like up into the abandoned bathroom.
Kind of. Yes.
Yeah.
So what he hears a bug coming. He knows it's coming. I think he sees it before he starts running, and then he like squeezes through a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
And he gets through, and then he sees a grate, and he's like, okay, I can get out. He picks up a table, and then on top of the table, he puts a sewing machine. Because this is an old-timey table with an old-timey sewing machine, and they like connect to each other, I guess. And he then climbs up on the table, and old sewing machines aren't as flat as new sewing machines. They're not exactly like square-shaped. They are more round, and he is slipping a little bit. Logically, I don't think that there's any way in hell he would have been able to stand on it, but he stands on it. He gets up, he pushes it open, he's slipping, and then he's reaching for a wire in the bathroom, being like, I gotta get out of here. Reaching for the wire, grabs the wire, starts to pull up, slips off of the sewing machine. Bug comes in.
Yeah.
He grabs the wire. He's starting to pull himself up. His legs are the only thing that's down. Oh, the bug gets the legs.
And there's like a huge spurt of blood up into
so much
the bathroom.
It seems like they got his legs, and it's an interesting scene because you can see on his face he's having this realization that, oh my God, I have no legs.
Yeah, he's still already got, but he's alive.
Yeah, and he's pulling up, and then all of a sudden blood starts to come out of his mouth, and then you just see him sink back down into the ground. And that is goodbye, Josh.
Josh, I guess he didn't deserve this, but I'm not torn up about it. He's torn up about it. Oh. Then we get a very quick flash of the cobbler, of Manny, seeing Sorvino down in the subway. So Manny's alive.
Yay!
We are stoked. We love Manny, and now he's teaming up with Sorvino. And then we cut back to Peter and Leonard, and Peter is just being a huge piece of shit to Leonard. So as Leonard is like exploring their situation, trying to find a way out, he is singing to himself to soothe his nerves. And he's got a beautiful singing voice.
Mm-hmm.
And
he does.
Peter
it's very nice.
is just like shutting him down. He's like, shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up, Peter.
And I know this movie's rated R, but it used the F word.
Rated R?
Yeah, I know, right? It used the F word 2 times, I think. I think because I clocked it because I was like, is this PG-13? Because I know they have to strategically put the word fuck if it's PG-13. And they can only have 1. And then they had 2. And I was like, is this rated R? Because it doesn't seem... I think it's probably the scene with the kids in the beginning, and that I would consider it rated R. Aside from that, I
country doesn't really
wouldn't.
care about children dying, so I don't see why that would make it an R rating. Hi, I'm topical. This is
partially why our last episode did not make it to...
I know.
we couldn't stop talking about current events, and it was very difficult to talk about anything else. So I'm sure that everybody else is dealing with something similar, but yeah, we feel you.
Yeah, and the great news is this is timeless. So whatever shooting recently killed a bunch of kids, that's the one we're talking about. Okay, so...
But Manny's alive.
Manny's alive, and Manny shows up to Peter and Leonard, and he's like, great news, I just found your gal. She's just up the way. We got to get her. So they go and like fetch her out of a hole, I guess. And so now everybody who is alive is together except for Chewie. Chewie's missing, but we've got Manny, we've got Leonard, we've got Peter, we've got Mira Sorvino. Yeah, so they barely get Sorvino up because a giant bug is coming for her, and they get her up just in time, and they lock themselves in an old subway car. And this is where like Leonard is going to be so excited about this subway car. But as they're like trying to close the doors, the bug is so close behind them that it's like it's trying to get into this subway door, and it, like, the doors close, it tears itself in half, and part of the bug is in this old abandoned subway car with them. What the fuck was that? Is what Leonard says, and I agree. And I agree with that sentiment. And they, oh boy, this is such a stressful scene.
Oh, yeah.
Were you stressed out? Okay.
Yeah, the entire time. Everyone's on edge because it scurries. The half of the body scurries.
Half of the body scurries. And Leonard is like, oh, let me just go investigate. Like, I respect the curiosity. We've talked about this on the podcast before. If you hear a spooky noise in your house, go investigate. I'm going to go investigate. Spooky noise, I'm going to go investigate.
Half dead bug.
Half bug that just scurried across the room. I'm not going anywhere near that.
Well, it seemed like Leonard was trying to stay away from it. And then Peter had grabbed a pickaxe that was like used in that car for some reason.
Yeah, like, in the 1940s, you had to pickaxe your way through the subway tunnels. They didn't exist yet. So you had to...
In case of emergency, break glass. He broke the glass. He got the pickaxe. And then, like, Leonard also was shooting the shit out of this half.
Oh, yeah. He shoots so many bullets.
Yeah, like, I think that the gun held less bullets than he shot. So I don't know how it's possible, but it
movie
felt
magic, baby.
And so it scurries under, and then he's like, they're both scared and they're both freaking out. And they're like,
they're
go
still
under,
approaching
go get it. Get it. And he's like, there it is. He's like, move it. And he's like, no, I'm not going to move it. He's like, you move it. Everybody move it.
Nobody move it.
And then they move it. And then they're like, it's dead. It's totally dead. Because it wasn't moving.
It isn't dead. Sorry, spoiler. It's not dead.
Yeah. And then it gets Leonard.
But just his leg. Leonard is alive.
In a really gross way.
Oh, it's bad.
It's super deep.
It's very deep. There's a lot of blood. It's distressing.
For sure.
To quote my notes, frowny face.
Yeah, accurate.
Oh, God. So this is like a frenetic scene. Like, we're trying to help Leonard close up his leg, and Manny is just sort of staring at the bug, transfixed, and Mira goes in and is just touching it with her hands, with her bare hands. She's touching the bug, and she sees that it has lungs. Bugs don't have lungs. Bugs don't have lungs. So it's evolving. Oh, no. And so here's where we're talking about how, like, we made them have a super fast metabolism, and therefore their breeding cycle is super fast. And so they are evolving very fast. Yep. Like, this is thousands of years of evolution condensed into three. And this is where it's like explicitly stated that they have evolved, or maybe it's not explicitly stated. Maybe I put some things together. I don't remember. My notes say, oh, it evolved to have hands that look like human faces.
Yeah, I think I think it explicitly says it because she pulls together the parts. That said they're now mimicking us because
they're now mimicking us.
That's when she starts to talk about, she was like, many bugs will start to mimic their predators.
They're predators. Mm-hmm.
And this is the part where she was like, and now they're mimicking us. And she moves the two pieces together to make a face.
Gross, stop touching it. And basically everybody's mad. Everybody's mad at her for a second.
For making the bugs. And they were like, this is your fault. You've done this.
You did this. And then so many bugs attack the train car.
They do attach themselves and attack.
They do both. You're right. Yeah. So they are like up outside of the subway car, and they're like weirdly caressing it. Or maybe that happens later. They caress it later. Anyway, at some point in the movie, the bugs caress the train car menacingly. But apparently the scent of blood draws the bugs. And so to counteract that, Sorvino starts like tearing apart the half bug that they have and like rubbing it on the windows and on themselves to mask their scent, which is effective. And this is like exactly what she was talking about earlier with the grasshoppers. She's like, fragrances can direct bugs because okay, are we ready to get into it? I don't think that the bugs are evil. I think that they are trying to survive.
Yeah.
Like, their natural instincts are to make more of themselves and to attack threats.
Yep.
And
humans are a threat.
Can distract them. Yeah. Yep. I think that if this was like a brain thing, the scent would not deter them. Yeah. I think that this is all just a hormonal thing, just like the nun urine. Oh boy. Okay,
Oh!
so the plan is we got to get this subway car moving. It's on the tracks. Like we just gotta, simply rewire the subway. We
And
just have to
flip a
simply
switch.
rewire the subway. Yeah, we've got to switch to flip. And this is where like Peter won't let Mira go out.
Yeah, so this is what we're going to talk about. So
Yeah.
Mira was like, I'll do it. I'm the one who did this to everyone. I need to go. And then
She's also like, I know how the bugs work. Like, send me
But
out.
then that's why he says he doesn't want her to go, is so she can fix this, because he knows she needs to fix it for herself.
So I have a question about the edit that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
In the edit that I saw, she's like, I know how the bugs work. Let me go out there. And then Peter like looks around frantically and there's like a long pause while he tries to come up with what to say to combat that.
Okay.
And finally, he's like, that's why you have to be safe. You have to make it out of here so that you can solve this.
Mine wasn't a long pause, but it was
so long.
The one that I watched was mostly like, you just need to, I know, like, this is why you need to stay. Because, like, they talk about it and then he's like, I will go because this is why you need to stay. You are the only one who can tell people why this is happening, what we can do to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, he made it very clear that she's the only one that can save humanity. And he can't save humanity because he doesn't understand them.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what ostensibly happens in the edit that I saw. But it was clearly like...
The baby?
No, it was clearly Peter coming up with an excuse in order to save the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But since I thought she was still not pregnant...
Yeah.
I don't even know why they left any of that storyline or her peeing on the thing.
I don't know either. Why is that in there? If
that was the case, I would have left that part completely out.
Wait, so you got one pregnancy scene? Like, I got nun urine. I got pregnancy test.
Urine.
I got pregnancy phone call. I got this weird shit. You just got pregnancy test?
I just got pregnancy test, and I feel like the ending that I got lined up to just getting a pregnancy test. A negative pregnancy test.
Yeah, this all should have been cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, this all should have been cut. So, Peter insists that Mira cannot go out there. So we decide that Peter and Manny are going to go. And Peter is going to rewire some stuff to get like electricity back, and Manny is going to flip a switch to like align the train tracks. So yeah, they head out. They go to try to solve these problems. They split up, right? Their goals are in different directions, and Manny is looking for this switch, and he hears clicking noises, and he thinks that it is Chewie with his little spoons. And this like is upsetting. They get Manny. They get Manny. He does see Chewie.
See Chewie, and right in front of Chewie, they get Manny. So Chewie watches this happen, and Chewie
fucking sees it.
He has no emotional reaction, I think, until this moment.
He loves Manny.
He does, and
this
it was
is his
so
guardian, and or dad, and or grandpa, and or kidnapper.
The most important person to him.
But we love Manny and Chewie. Yeah, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
This sucks. Yeah. So, I don't know. It was a quick emotional turn. Like, you see Manny find Chewie and you're like, yes, we're going to get the kid. And then immediately he gets got by the bugs. What a situation. Meanwhile, Peter is trying to like rewire the subway. I don't understand electricity.
You gotta put the blue wire with the green wire. Do you remember? Because Leonard hands him a piece of paper and he's like, you gotta put the blue wire with the green wire. Did he just draw literally 2 lines and hand him a piece of paper with 2 lines on it?
I don't know, man. But here's what I'm saying is the colors of the wires don't literally change anything. Like, those are signifiers for people who come in the future. So to say like, oh, put the blue wire with the green wire, like that assumes that the previous electrician followed convention.
Protocol.
He may not have. She may not have. They may not have.
How did he also know that those were the 2 wires that happened to be disconnected? He disconnected them.
Leonard's the bad guy.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know, but Peter's futzing with the wires and a giant bug approaches him. But his scent camouflage works. Bug just goes right on by. So very stressful moment, no payoff.
He also holds his breath, kind of, and he like doesn't breathe, and then he leaves, and he's like, and I was like, well, is it your breath? I thought it was sweat, and then I was like, you don't not sweat when you hold your breath. That doesn't stop sweat from happening.
Maybe that's what he was trying, though.
Does
I don't know. Okay, so while Manny and Peter are gone, Mira realizes that, like, oh no, the Judases can find their way out of the city through the tunnels. So, like, this isn't just a Manhattan problem. This is like a world problem. Because, like, once they're out of here, they can go wherever.
And they look like humans, so...
And they look like humans, so people aren't noticing them unless they get up close, and by then it's too late. She goes on to observe that all of the ones we have found so far are female, but what about that one that was the warrior cast? That was a boy.
No, that was a girl.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so she's like, okay, got it. So they would only have one fertile male. That's our way out. We got to find and kill the one fertile male. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. So here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Did only one fertile male evolve? Did all of the other fertile males already get out of the city through the tunnels? Like, are they out somewhere?
Well, that's why I'm confused, because I would have assumed she would have created only one gender to stop that from happening. And so I have no idea how a male was created.
Well, you're right. I think that earlier in the movie, they said that they only made ladies.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like, not to bring up Jurassic Park again, but do you remember how they only made lady dinosaurs in Jurassic Park and they... Evolution happened. Yeah. Nature finds a way.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? We just watched Jurassic Park, but not as good.
Yeah, Jurassic Park is way better than this movie. So, I don't know. She's like, we gotta kill the boy. And from inside the train car, we can hear Chewie. He's like reacting to the death of Manny. And so Mira goes out to find him. And at the same time, Peter like fixes the wiring with his glasses. I don't know. That's fine. And Mira finds Manny's bloody rosary.
Yeah.
Outside of the, like, what do you call it? The nook.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what the area he was going into was.
He was just in a nook. So she finds Chewie and Manny's bloody rosary. And so the cop, Leonard, is alone in the subway car at this point, and his leg is looking very bad. And it starts bleeding profusely again. And so when Peter is trying to get back into the subway car, Leonard won't let him in order to, like, segregate himself with his bloody, like, honing beacon for
also
the bugs.
I was gonna say, Peter's also telling him, I found a dumbwaiter. Let's go. We can get out.
Yeah. And so the bugs are descending on the subway car, and Peter goes to find Mira and Chewie. I don't know. Leonard leaves the subway car and he goes on to, like, distract the bugs. He goes on singing. He starts walking down the subway tunnel and he's singing, and they go after him, and he gets got, but he goes down. He doesn't go down without a fight. He does at least still have his gun, and he shoots at them.
R.I.P. Leonard.
R.I.P.
There's a dumbwaiter.
Mira and Chewie are climbing into it, and they think that Peter is going to come with them to escape. And instead, Peter, like, sends them along, hoping to stop the bugs here. Right? Like, we don't want them out in the city or further than that. So y'all get out. I'ma go fight these bugs. And the bugs attack the dumbwaiter, and Mira and Chewie get separated?
No, I thought she got out on the same floor. They get out on the same floor because she stops it with a piece of wood, and then she gets out, and then the dumbwaiter falls, but the bug then flies up to the same floor that she's on.
And the two of them are still together?
Chewie's a little bit farther away from her. He's on the tracks, but he's a little bit farther away from her.
Okay, so this is either my poor memory or our different edits. I'm not sure. Could go either way. But Peter is definitely separated, and he finds, like, where the main colony is. There's, like, so many bugs hanging from the ceiling. Is that what termites do? Did they hang? This was like a bat situation.
No,
I don't know. Do mantises do it? I don't know.
Mantises might.
I don't know anything about I don't know anything about these bugs. You're a Little Miss Bug lover.
I don't look up mantises. How
I
do
don't know what these
mantises
guys,
sleep?
but they're sleeping bat style. And so Peter sneaks in, sees them all in there, and there's like a gas pipe leaking into the room. And so and it's like just a little leak. So he like uses that ice pick that we were talking about earlier to break that open and like open a flood of gas into the room. And he tries to use a lighter to ignite the flame, and it won't light. So he's like, no. This is another very stressful scene. He's trying to get this gas to ignite. One of the bugs attacks. He gets slashed like across the midsection, and he drops the lighter. So now he is trying to ignite the gas another way. He uses his little axe to like flint it against like the grates of the floor. And as that happens, he like jumps into the water below. Very convenient.
Yeah, every part of this was very convenient.
Very convenient.
Caution, explosive gas.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, thank God. So there are like explosions throughout the city and throughout the tunnels, and Mira, she gets like tossed. Yeah, so she stands up, and her first concern is to look for Chewie, and he's just up the tunnel a little bit, and she's gonna go for him, but a big Judas appears, and it is headed for Chewie, and she realizes that it is the fertile male. It's the male of the colony. This is the big bad that we need to kill. So she cuts herself on her hand to draw the
She cuts
bug.
herself, I also just want to point this out, with the rosary, and it looks like stigmata.
Oh my God, I missed all of them.
It's just more religious iconography.
Every time you have said that you were bad at college essays, you're wrong. Look at this. You're crushing it.
I was bad in college, but now I'm seeing symbolism everywhere.
Fuck, I didn't notice that at all. God damn. That's great. Yeah. That's great. That's a great point.
But I don't know but I don't know how that ties in to. Is she sacrificing herself? I guess that's what it is. She's sacrificing herself.
So is she a saint now? Is she a saint now?
I think she's supposed to be Jesus moment. She's sacrificing herself for Chewie, is what it seems like.
I don't know why I was just thinking so hard. I don't know enough about religion. I don't know. Yeah, that sounds great. I think you're right. Yeah. So, the bug starts coming toward her, and like an active subway car comes flying down the tunnel and takes out the fertile male.
Well, it's also, it starts chasing her, and she starts running towards the car. And she also has the fertile male isn't slow. She definitely has either a sprained or broken ankle. She is limping, and she's running towards this car, and somehow she gets closer to the car, jumps out of the way, and the male gets squished. Yeah. Logically, that part did not make any sense to me. This is the only literally one part of the film that confused me. No other parts.
Sense.
Just this one.
I can explain that one away. She's Jesus. She's fine. She get out of the way. Here's my question about this scene. Chewie was also on the subway tracks, and I love question. Chewie. I love Chewie.
It's unlikely that he removed himself from the tracks.
No, he did not detect this danger.
I had the same question.
But Chewie's fine. We make it above ground, and they're like I said, there were explosions throughout the city because this was a gas line or whatever, and there were firefighters and NYPD, and for whatever reason, Mira's entomology coworker shows up, and he's like, I swept the area twice. None of these bugs could have survived the fire, but a couple things. One, the fertile male did survive the fire. So some of them could have. Two, I happen to know that there is a mimic too. So he's wrong. But the implication in the scene is Peter did.
Yeah. Because he said none of them could have survived. Could any of us?
Right.
And he then looks sad. And then she's like, I'm sad.
Yeah. So that's a no. So she's sitting there with Chewie. They're bummed. And then a dark figure starts coming up from the subway. And you're like, oh no, is that Mr. Funny Shoes? Oh, no, it's Peter. It's Peter. So it's a happy ending, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Super happy. They just all hug, and that's the end of it.
Yep. Literally, there is a group hug, and then the credits roll.
And that's the part where I thought that was the wrap up to her not getting pregnant, because now she's going to be Chewie's stepmom, or not stepmom, but adopted mother.
Oh, that's sweet. I like that.
Yeah, I thought that's what the wrap up of her not being pregnant was.
Oh.
Is that they were going to be a family. Okay, so now I have some facts. So Del Toro also wanted it to be Dr. Mann was not supposed to be portrayed by the person that portrayed him. It was supposed to be Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the chief.
Oh my God.
He was supposed to be Dr. Mann.
Wait.
Andre Brower, I think is his name.
Oh my God.
But Weinstein's came in and said, I don't think the world is ready for a biracial family. So Chewie and Manny were going to be Hispanic, obviously from the names, but they are not in this.
Oh, Manny was like Italian or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It was supposed to be Hispanic, and then Andre Black, and then Mira. So they were going to keep Mira, but it was going to be a multicultural family. And they said that America was not ready for that in 1997. So they did not create that movie that way. Yeah. That fun fact. But just to even think of, like, Holt. If Holt was here, the best.
Oh my God.
You would that would have been the greatest of all the movies.
Oh my God. But especially if he played it like Holt.
Oh, it would have been oh my God. I don't think that they would have less chemistry, but it'd be
a different type of chemistry. I'll tell you that much.
But I'm so excited to talk about what the ending should have been.
Yes, tell me. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
So the entire story would be kind of different. So it was never supposed to be science creating the bugs. It's supposed to be God creating the evolution of the bugs, because he got so tired of people being pieces of shit.
That sounds great. Yeah.
That he wanted bugs to take over. So the end of the movie wasn't supposed to be them happily ever after. It was supposed to be Mira going into like a cavern with all the bugs. And then there was one man in the middle that told her to leave, but it was one of them, but it had evolved to completely mimic humans. To the point where you can't even tell it's not a human.
So then what happens at the end of the movie? She's told to leave and she leaves, and then what?
I don't know. I guess they murder her. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
That was the extent of the trivia item that I read, was that it was that God hated the human race and wanted the bugs to take over. So he evolved them. So I wish I would have seen that movie and seen what happened there, because I feel like that seems like an interesting concept. But they said it was too dark, and they didn't like that it didn't have a happy ending.
God, I hate a happy ending.
So that was
Mimic.
Our next movie is going to be I Know What You Did Last Summer.
And I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so
I love
excited about that one.
Yeah,
like, this was, I feel like this was sort of a dud to start 97 on. But the next one, all of them, I think are going to be good.
Yeah, and we might have a guest on at least one of them. We don't know. That guess is not confirmed. So we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Or I'm murdered by the guest. We'll find out.
Yeah. We've got to set up an emergency alert situation. Okay. We'll do that offline. So this has been Mimic. Chelsea thought it was fine. I thought it was bad. And next time we will be talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer, and we are both very excited about it. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Attaway.
I'm Chelsea Hollander.
And you can find us online at No Show Monster on Twitter, or noshowmonster@gmail.com. And I think we're going to try to do more social media.
Yeah, we're going to try.
Find out. Listen, we have Cronenberg diseases. Give us a second.
We're having time.
Just give us a second.
We're having a time.
And then we'll figure it out. We will see you next week for our next episode. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Until then, rate and review 5 stars. Yeah. Happy spookies.
Oh yeah, 5 stars. Happy spookies.